Some days food makes us feel really good. And other days, it's our worst enemy. How many of you, be honest about this, eat your feelings, then beat yourself up for doing it afterwards? Am I speaking to a lot of, Well, you're about to meet a doctor who says the key to building a healthy relationship with food may be to embrace emotional eating. And that's just what Anthea needs.
I am emotionally and physically exhausted at the end of my day. As a nurse, I do bring home a lot of stress from my job. When I get into the car, my food cravings, they explode. I start to get hungry. Every mood has a food. So when I'm happy, I like certain things. When I'm sad, certain types of food. When I'm anxious or nervous, there is a food for every emotion. After I've anticipated what I'm gonna eat, I think about it, I order it. I am craving something banana. I get it, and I love the way it makes me feel. Oh, this is so good. I definitely have a place that I go for every type of food that I want. I'm in the mood for something sweet. Eating is definitely one of my coping mechanisms. I'm so excited that I can't wait till I get home. I start eating in the car. When I take the first bite, it's relief. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel happy. And sometimes it's all gone before I get to the door. If I don't finish the food before I get to the door, then I usually sit down on the couch, put on my favorite show, and I dig in. I live alone, so when I eat, it's usually by myself. It is calming. It's like a peace. In that split second, everything is okay. And then I feel bad afterwards. My cravings are an emotional roller coaster ride. I'm eating my emotions. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to get off this roller coaster. I don't want to ride it anymore.
I love the cheesecake too, by the way.
Yes.
So what happens emotionally to you? What do you feel when you're eating all those emotions?
Initially, I feel good. It makes me feel, endorphins are released and you feel good. It tastes good, you feel good. But afterwards, I feel remorseful. I feel disappointed.
You know, it's amazing. You're so good at so many things, and yet this one area just sneaks up on you all the time.
It does. It's difficult.
You're an ICU nurse.
Yes.
A lot of pressure being an ICU nurse.
Yes.
How do you deal with that? How do you cope with those feelings?
So you become desensitized. You kind of because if you put all your emotions into it, then you're not going to be able to do your job effectively. So we kind of we have to go through our day and just be desensitized to everything, and then at the end, laugh now, cry later.
Yeah. When you say desensitized, I think what most of us do, and I suspect this is true for you too, is we internalize the discomfort. We hide it in ourselves. We want to be strong for the people around us.
Of course,
women
we
do
do
this all the time.
Yes.
Please speak to everyone. When we stuff our feelings down in order to spare others, we're actually forced to something important. When we get those quiet moments, we have to deal with them. And the snacks that you're speaking to are what we do repeatedly with that over and over and over again. So I wanted to see how true that was for you. So you kept a food journal for us.
Yes, I did.
I'm going to put it up on the truth tube.
Oh.
It's okay?
Right. Okay.
We found that 30% of your calories are eaten when you have real hunger. They're legitimate.
Okay.
Legitimate. 70% of your eating, unfortunately, is eaten for your feelings. That moves you from sadness to happiness, or maybe it copes with stress, but it's dealing with the emotional issues, not your body's actual needs. Does that surprise you at all when you see that?
It does, because I want to eat, as for fuel. I want to eat to live, not live to eat. And hearing that 70%, that's a lot for feelings.
It's a big number. I was with the chef from Morocco recently, and he was, very passionate about the food he was making. And, he was Muslim, so the prayers were being announced. And I said, don't you have to go pray? And he said, when I'm preparing food to nourish the soul, we don't have to pray. So in their culture, that's how important, that's how sacred food was. So when I see you dealing with food issues, with emotional issues together, I realized we have an opportunity, but maybe they're not matched up right. So I wanted to help you with someone who's a world expert in this area.
Okay.
She struggled with emotional eating herself, and she took what she's learned from her experience and started using it in her practice. Please welcome mindful eating expert, Dr. Michelle May. Dr. May developed a plan to embrace emotional eating, and I want everyone to pay attention to this because it's not just as easy as saying don't do it. Obviously, if that was so simple, a nurse who's smart enough to save lives would have done it herself. So the first step is to realize everyone eats for emotional reasons at some point, and we have to stop feeling guilty about it. Michelle.
That's right. I mean, we are hardwired to have emotional connections to food. You think about when a baby's born and its parents holding them. From birth, we begin to learn that being fed means being loved. So it doesn't work to say just don't do that or don't have emotional connections to food. It's normal to have emotional connections to food. It's that guilt that leads to this eat, repent, repeat cycle and closes the door on learning. It's possible to eat food for comfort and still be healthy and emotionally and physically healthy.
So we're going to change the mindset on this. When we talk about food from now on this show, we're going to talk about it very differently. Why eating the food you love is actually a good thing, and the rest of the plan to embrace emotional eating when we come back.